Kanpai!
We're professionals.
We are 100% professionals, and because we're so professional, you will never know what happened. Anyway, welcome everyone to episode 143 of Kanpai Cast, where we are doing the spring 2024 full season review. At long last, this season is over. But before, of course, we get into that, we got a little bit of housekeeping. Like the video. We like it when you like the video. The video likes it when you like the video. And YouTube likes it when you like the video. You can even like yourself when you like the video. But you should do that anyway.
No, tell you what. If you leave a comment on the video, we'll like the comment.
We will like the comment. Speaking of comments, comment on the video. And if you're not already subscribed, hey, why don't you subscribe? Why don't you share it with your friends? Tell them to subscribe. Get your dog, make them an account on YouTube, and have your dog subscribe. No, I don't do that. That actually sounds
Getting
like
too weird now, man.
Botting. We also have this is also available in podcast version. There's a link in the description to the RSS feed, which you can then put into your favorite podcasting app. What is it? What do the people use these days? Apple. I think Stitcher used to be a thing, but it doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think Google Podcasts exists anymore. I think they got rid of that.
Yep.
Who knows?
But if you prefer listening to it and you don't want to pay for YouTube Premium so that your phone can stay on while you're listening to it, then there you go. That's an option for you now. And we also have a Discord. We love our Discord. We get people post things in there for us to watch, and sometimes they make it into the news, like this week with the Suicide Squad Isekai video. But mostly we just like to hang out and have fun and post anime OPs and look at Xeno's plastic crack addiction and Thalien's waifus.
Absolutely.
And
Indeed. Some of our more active people even suggest topics to discuss on the Kanpai Cast when we're not doing our special guests or these reviews. So if you do have an idea that we haven't discussed yet, give us a shout. There's a thread right there on our Discord for you to place your ideas.
or even one that we've discussed but you want to see come back because it's been a while. All right, I think that just about covers it. Oh no, we got one more.
No. So due to scheduling issues, we're actually going to be breaking this episode up in terms of recording. In principle, you shouldn't see a difference, but basically
people's clothes might change. That's probably about it.
Yeah, so basically a couple of the shows that we want to do for this week's episode aren't out yet, and it's just like, why the F aren't they out yet? So we're going to be doing the vast majority of shows to review, and then we're going to stitch over to the last few shows that we're going to review, and then stitch back to the comments and everything. So hopefully it should be seamless, but if you're like, oh, was this glaringly obvious cut? Apologies, that's why.
Looking at you, whichever show it was, whose name I can't remember now. Oh, Demon Slayer. Looking at you, Demon Slayer. Right. Yeah. So I think that's it. Do we want to go over all the shows we dropped?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So for the season, we have dropped, for a multitude of different reasons, a solid bowl of eccentrics, the Gods' games we play, Mission Yozakura Family, Remonster, Studio Apartment, Good Lighting, Angel Included, The Banished Former Hero Lives As He Pleases, The New Gate, Unnamed Memory, and Yatagarasu. They're all ones that we dropped. However, one we cannot yet review because of production issues is The Misfit of Demon King Academy Season 2 Core 2. So they've had issues. Originally said like the last 4 episodes weren't going to be aired until much later, and then it was a case of no, we're actually going to only be 2 behind, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
So for that one, we're not going to review that one, but I mean, I still love the show. So. And unless anyone has anything, we'll start with Thaylien.
All right, let's go ahead and.
I'm good to start. So I'm going to give us a start with an Archdemon's Dilemma: How to Love Your Elf Bride.
Okay. He frantically swaps over. There we go.
So this one, last review was a Acquired Taste 3 for me, and it's gone up to an Acquired Taste 5. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually managed to impress me. Not usual. So the premise of the show is basically that in this world where sorcerers, magic, holy knights, they all exist, we are following a particular sorcerer who manages to gain the rank of Archdemon, which is a magical designation that in fact gives him power above regular sorcerers and authority over them. And in doing so, in the process of doing so, he buys the property of the previous Archdemon that died, including an elf that was going to be used for some kind of experiments. And the only reason he actually bid for her was because he fell in love at first sight. And everything that happens after that is absolutely adorable. We see her be a good influence on his life. Everything from learning to clean up the castle he's in so that she can have a nice room to sleep in, to actually, realizing that no, he's eating terrible food because it's just what he's used to. And then the trials and tribulations that happen as an archdemon. So he's got new people coming for him, new potential enemies and new potential allies. And I think what really got me with this one is that eventually, of course, the family side of this had to kick in, and he picks up a adoptive daughter, and who is, how should I put this, a slightly more violent Kana, but not able to go as dragon, if you see what I mean. So
It's kind of cryptic.
Okay, well, we know Dragon Maiden. They're all actual dragons. Yes. Imagine a very young one of those that can't go full dragon, and you have his new daughter. And again, hijinks ensue, but at the same time, there are some actually moving moments, some really good comedy in there, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching this progress at the same time as his reputation as an archdemon is increasing. His reputation as a family man among the town people is increasing as well, and he's making friends and influencing people. Yeah, very wholesome show.
Sounds like it's just being rather touching.
I kind of agree with what you're saying. I don't know if I could give it a full 5-star. I kind of feel like there are a couple of points that the narrative were a bit shitty. I do feel like the last episode I got quite bored. It was trying to be an epilogue episode, but at the same time it was just like, are we gonna round off anything at this point? Because it was still an entertaining watch though. Out of everything that I've seen this season, this was one that I enjoyed actively seeking each time. So,
of course, got all the crap shows to review.
Most of the crap shows.
It's not entirely true. Okay,
should we move on to one of mine, which I'm gonna do as which one do I want to do first? You know what? I'm going to do... I was reincarnated as the 7th Prince so I could take my time perfecting my magical ability. I can't remember if I did this last season. I got a funny feeling I did. And I gave it a Acquired Taste 3-star. It's still firmly an Acquired Taste 3-star. The animation remains true. The hijinks that ensue are fun. The power fantasy side of this is still way up there. The charisma that the characters carry around them is charming and adorable. You're not just like... A lot of the time with a lot of these shows where you got a power fantasy, the characters try to be charming, but they're really not, right? They're about as charming as a plank of wood, yet you have all these characters. Yeah, quite possibly, but like well, I mean, crap. I got a cheat skill in another world and I became.
Oh.
Yeah, that one is like you get so many of these characters where they're overpowered, and everyone fawns for them, like left, right, and center, but there's no real justification for it. It's not they're insufferable. They're just a plank of wood. It's just like what's so cool and interesting about that. So yeah,
it's because it can be used. It's a blank piece of wood, so that you can put you in there.
But I suppose in that regard, again, it's great seeing just characters being true to themselves, being silly misfits. Like, again, I suppose this is why I like Anos Voldigold, right? Anos is, he's kind of like a straight-faced... Yeah, like he's sort of like really super straight-laced, but he has like an ego to go with him, sort of thing. He's like, he knows that he is OP as all hell, and like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill you with my heartbeat because I'm a douche. Yeah, the idea. So I quite like the show. Out of a lot of the stuff that I've watched this season, this one's kept me most. So one of the ones that kept me the most entertained. Even though, like, we're talking about Archdemons Dilemma, I'd probably say for people that enjoy the power fantasy, this is better. People that enjoy
the other
that
one sounds more cute and like,
exactly.
You need a nice girl to take care of you.
Yeah, and this one's like, I'm just gonna blow that up now. As I can.
Cool.
That's a really tough enemy. I'm gonna fight them because I can. Anyway, you get the point. Right.
Right. So I will take as my first one, Train to the End of the World, which has been a really weird one from the very start. However, last review I gave it an acquired taste 1. It's gone all the way up to an acquired taste 5. Not quite must-watch territory. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Well, I know, and you and I might disagree a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. It's not must-watch territory because don't expect any explanations, really. You just have to kind of take the what they say about 7G is just the reality of things, because it's not about that. It's about the relationships, and they're just using this weird setting to give them a chance to play out these relationships in a more interesting way than just a straight coming of age story. But yeah, it's just kind of a lighthearted, warming adventure. The really unbelievable thing is that Sega Saturn survived this whole time. There's also an episode where like each episode has like a message in it, kind of wrapped up in it. Like there's one with zombies and a girl who's pretending that she is the queen of the zombies. And it like you find out that the lesson in that one is I actually don't know, because the perversion saves the day, and I don't understand what the message is.
I think it's just don't take life so seriously.
It might be. It's definitely aimed at a younger audience. Like I said, it's very much a coming of age story. Sometimes it kind of rushes the ending of a stopover. Like, it was one of the later ones. I think it was the city that had been turned. Like, it was based on a manga or something.
Oh, yeah.
The cute magical girls had been captured or, well, semi-killed, and our heroes were trying to save them, and then that episode just kind of suddenly ends.
That one did feel rushed.
But for the most part, it's pretty good. I love the fact that the sage makes a reappearance at the end, well, close to the end, and I think the overall message is that the world of adulthood is almost unrecognizable to the world of youth, but it doesn't mean that the world is ending, and that also the status quo, you never want to stand still too long. You know, you don't want to be like, okay, this world looks terrible, I need to go back. No, you always need to move forward. But sometimes moving forward can define a new normal.
It's not just that, but it's also the case of, like, you don't have to accept things just because the adults tell you to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which I think is, again, like a really good story. And don't let people tell you what's important. You know, so I really enjoyed this series. In all honesty, I think if I didn't give it an acquired taste 4, I would give it 5. I would give it a 4 at least.
Mm-hmm.
Right, at the lowest point, I would have given it a 4. So again, this is Train to the End of the World, and one of the things that I like the most about it is the style of writing to which they have the characters interact with each other. Because the way that they interact, I would argue, is very true to life.
They feel like teenagers, yeah.
They do genuinely feel like teenagers rather than people just reading off a script.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, they'll interrupt each other.
Rather than hello, fellow young people, they actually feel like young people.
Yeah, they'll interrupt each other. They will take things out of context. They will just randomly yabber on about nonsense.
They'll have arguments and then, like, 2 minutes later, change their mind and realize that they've done, that was a bad thing to argue about, you know. Yeah.
And again, like, I love the surreal nature of this. The world being, like, really tipped on its head. You know, it's so, yeah.
I almost wish they'd had more episodes to explore more of those, because there's a lot of them that you just kind of drive through, and I imagine if this is based on a manga, that there is more exploration in that. I would almost guarantee it. But still, it's not about that. It's about the relationships, and those are consistent the whole way through.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty decent series, and one I would recommend anyone to watch if they like that sort of exploration of world.
Yeah.
And character.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
Go on, Thaylien, what's your next one?
I am going to go with the one I picked up after I dropped Free Monster, which is that time I got reincarnated as a slime, Season 3, Core 1.
No, it's the first half, because it's one
half, basically.
Yeah, it's just one continuous thing.
It's one continuous thing, but it's basically a full, you know. So I picked up this one, not expecting much, and don't. It's a Nothing Special 5.
Nothing Special 5?
Yes, because they have upped the quality and upped the whole kind of feel of it for Season 3. They've obviously tried to claw back some of the things they lost in Season 2. You know, some of the fan base. But half of at least every episode is spent in a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah. For at least the first, 5 episodes. And it gets better. But it was hard to slog through. I was on the verge of, watching the entire thing at double speed and seeing how long that took me. But in terms of what it actually does and what those meetings actually entail, surprisingly good. So in this particular season, we're dealing with the fallout after Rimuru becomes the Demon Lord Rimuru, and the political maneuverings he goes on and the plots that he's got going. And new people coming out to like interfere with his plans. You know, they have their own agendas. They've got their own directions. They're taking their little corners of the world in, and Rimru's just basically stepping into the middle of it and messing with them by accident almost. So we have more backstory on some of the other demon lords. We have more backstory on the countries, and then we have more of the underlying plot, the underlying little mastermind plot that's trying to interfere with this world and tear down the current order. All, you know, trying to go along at the same time. And that doesn't leave a lot of room for the things that this show does really well, which is its action. You know, it never really pulls punches on the action it does show, but I feel that they could have shown way more of that by cutting down the meetings quite desperately. And it doesn't get into a higher ranking because we do spend a lot of time sitting around discussing the information that these characters are now learning. Oh, that's loud out there. I don't know if that came through on the microphone.
A little bit.
Sorry about that. Okay, the interactions that are there are still good, are still brilliant. You've got the same ridiculous characters being ridiculous characters, and you've got the same like straight man, funny man kind of comedy that comes from each of them in turn reacting to the ridiculousness of each other. And you do see some fantastic moments from people that you think you're getting sidelined suddenly showing off that they actually are in situations really powerful. You get a whole load of like the sidelined characters, like the goblins, from his original village, getting to show off the skills they've learned over time. And hell, I believe the important thing they did was they held the line and practically defeated a group of 100 crusaders from one of the nearby countries that's known for these crusaders being like the best of the best warriors. They're known for being like an elite strike force that could take down a small army. And an equal number of Rimru's goblins that just had the right kind of skill set were able to combat them effectively and not even kill them. They just took them out of the battle, stuck them with sleep darts and things, which was a really nice thing to see out of, from the way it began and how it previously concentrated on the hero characters of the thing, like the core characters a lot. But it's nothing more than nothing special at the moment. I'll have to see what it does at the end of the full series to really rate it.
All right.
I mean, that's kind of sad. So I've had a look and I'm like, well, is this a production issue sort of thing? First season was aired in 2018. That was pretty damn good. Like it was action packed majority of the time, but it did slow down towards the end. But then season 2, which was like 3 years later, it was slow through and through.
I think I have figured it out. It is the desire for it to stand out as the plots and intrigue want to stand out.
Yeah.
The problem is with their plots and intrigue, it's a lot. You could see how these characters are working through and figuring out different things and where their points of view are. But it puts so much weight on them when half the time could have got the same message across. It wants to.
It's stretching things out because, it's cheaper that way.
Because it wants to put more importance on the political maneuvering, the intrigue, the plots, and the misunderstandings to explain what's going on and why they're having these fights, rather than the more typical shonen thing of just having these fights with a little bit of contrivance in between. It's not really working for them.
Yeah. Well, we'll wonder how many more seasons of this we'll get. Right, should we move on to my next one?
Sure.
Right, I am going to cover Jellyfish Can't Swim in the night, I think it is.
But Trogdor comes in the night. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, is it Jellyfish Can't Swim at night? I can't remember.
No, it's in the night.
It is in the night, right. And, like... last time I gave this, I think, an acquired taste 4-star. This time I'm giving it an acquired taste 3-star or 2-star.
Oh, I already hit 3.
Oh well, 3-star then. So I really love the sort of creation based anime where it's, you know, you got a show which is about I am creating some form of art, right, or some form of technology, or, you know, it's expressionism, right? I really enjoyed Blue Period. It's definitely not going to be for most people. I really enjoy things like Bocce the Rock. It's not going to be for most people. Now, the whole point of Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night is supposed to be this, or at least it starts off with this whole, you know, these girls trying to find a way to express themselves. You know, it's okay to write music and things like this. But halfway through the series, it kind of goes off the rails a bit, and it's more about the lives they have led, you know, in school and things like this. Like, oh, they did, you know, they're the weirdo, and, you know, and like it just felt, this isn't what I've come here for. You know, this is more teen angst than expressionism. And it doesn't feel right.
Would you say that, like, whereas Train to the End of the World is sort of hopeful and adventurous in its coming of age, this is focusing more on the worse qualities that you might find in a coming of age story?
Yeah, I'd say it's like, it's all about the emotional baggage and things like this. Like the teenagers, what fucking emotional baggage, right? Like, you know, like, come on, like they're getting hung up on the most shit, and
yeah, but
to a lot of teenagers, that's very important. Yeah,
right. But at the same time, it. When they spend so much time on initially on the expressionist side of things, and like the creation of the music and stuff, and they are blowing up, and then like the stuff that happens in the series for the expressionism does not exist in real life. This is not how this would work in real life. There's no funny like, so one of the things is that their artist is actually doing a digital painting in real time, live on stage, and like, you know, while they are singing like a 3-minute song. I'm like, how quickly do you think people art? Right? It's like,
well, depends on the person, but yeah, fair enough.
Well, yeah, like I've watched artists on things like Twitch, and they'll spend hours just trying to shade one bit of hair in.
There are actual speed painters out there too, you know.
Of course, but like still, it kind of felt,
yeah,
it felt really off, and it's so like, if they're gonna hyperfixate on the realism of the teen baggage, but not hyperfixate on the creationist process or the expressionist process, it just feels unbalanced, right? And I really couldn't give a flying fuck about 2 of the characters learning how to ride a motorbike. You know,
you're a sensitive artist. Watch this. Yeah, but I'm not that sensitive.
So where I would instantly turn to people and say, like, you know, if you're interested in this sort of thing, watch Blue Period or Bocce the Rock. I wouldn't necessarily say the same thing for this. So,
I would say Balti's especially a good comparison because it does deal with angst and miscommunications and stuff, but it does it in a much better way, a much more constructive way. Well, I mean, I can't say for sure since I haven't watched this, but feels like it does it in a much more constructive way.
Yeah, I'd even say watch your boy Kong Ming. That kind of left me feeling a bit wanting at the end. This didn't make me feel wanting. Anyway.
Right.
Go on, Nasuth.
I will take Windbreaker next. Which, if you watched Kanpai News, you know is getting a second season already. For better or worse. I actually enjoyed this one, even though I'm giving it a nothing special 4, which is the exact same rating I gave it last time. I honestly quite enjoyed this the same way that I enjoy an action movie that's not really that deep. I think I've compared this several times now to The Warriors, which is a really not very deep movie about like a gang in New York. This is when New York is ruled by gangs, essentially, in that setting. And they're one gang who's kind of the good guys. They're kind of nice to the people that they live around, and they're being targeted by all the other gangs, and they have to like try and get home. It kind of has that feeling, even though they have their own base, and they're surrounded by all these other gangs. But I still found it really fun. I still might watch season 2. But also I don't expect the formula to change any, especially based on how this season ended. It likes to really enhance the drama via slow-mo and flashbacks. The slow-mo's all right. The flashbacks are really kind of annoying, especially if you watch it all in one go, because it's like, we literally just had this conversation. Why are we going over it again? There was also, after the tournament arc, whatever you want to call it, which lasted about 3 episodes, after that ended, they all went up to a roof to eat and basically discuss all the things that they had already learned during the fight. And it's just like, oh my gosh, do we really need to go over this again? But that aside, it's entirely for watching weekly rather than watching in a binge. Probably, yeah. And a lot of shows have a recap sort of thing. And I will say, for a younger audience, they might not have realized all the things that came out in the course of the fight. Because the idea here is that people communicate, or can communicate, when they fight together. When it's a good fight, when it's a proper fight, and not just, violence for the sake of violence. This is something that this is a message that they really want to push, is that there are good reasons to get strong. There are good reasons to want to be the top. And there are bad reasons to get strong, and bad reasons to want to get to the top. The tournament tries its best to really get this idea across that strength without compassion means nothing. Freedom is having friends who rely on you and that you can rely on, and that it's good to come to people when you're in trouble. This is a message that carries through to the end of the season, when there's one of their fellow classmates turns out is in trouble. This is set up for the second season, from another rival gang, yet another rival gang. In this season, they do deal with the gang. There is a conclusion to the gang that they fight with. And it's a good one. It's a good conclusion, because of course these are our good guys. They must bring people over to their side of thinking, or their way of thinking. But I think this sets up for the formula. I think the formula is essentially going to be Bofurin patrols their area, getting into scuffles here and there, protecting people, what have you. And then they're going to have one major clash with a rival gang. Sakura, our main character, is going to learn an important lesson about real strength and social dynamics, and take a step towards his goal of being the top of Bofurin. And that is exactly the formula of this season. He joined the class. Now he's the class rep, right? He's been voted on by everyone to be the class rep because he's so reliable, even though he doesn't outwardly want to be relied on by anyone or rely on anyone else. But he's already learning that lesson, that it's okay to rely on people.
Did we ever find out who those two characters were from like episode 2?
Which two characters?
So in the classroom where this screenshot is taken, so I'm going to sneeze. There's a guy
like
with an orange
guy
afro. Yeah. The pink haired guy and the orange.
Yes,
we do find out who they are.
Yeah. After the tournament is over, they go back to the classroom. Because that's like episode 9 or 10, one of the two.
Freaking what? Okay.
Well, the tournament goes from like episode 6 to a bit of 9, and then they have the recap where they're on the roof talking after their gangs have sort of joined forces, and yeah. But no, we learn who those two are. They're the ones who help get Sakura as class rep. Among other things, we learn more about their backstory, and then we start setting up for the next season with the next gang and the trouble and everything. So it's not bad. It's just not great. It's fun. It's shonen. It's Yeah.
Okay, got it. Right, go on, Thaylien.
I'm going to go with a good one. Hope that's short, which is The Irregular at Magic High School. Now, mid-season, this was an acquired taste 5, and it's sticking there. I can't quite give it a must-watch, but it's still one of the better shows this season. So the gist of this season with the Irregular is that there's a lot of political maneuvering based around the 10 master clans of this world, of this other world's Japan, and how they are all trying to push different agendas, and the fallout of this is that everybody else in the world is going to get hurt in some way. So they bring in American spies to infiltrate the school and then get recognized immediately as a ploy, or that's going to be Chinese traditionalist mages coming in and pretending to defect to the Japanese side and then causing chaos. The whole thing is all about trying to get this balance between the agendas of the different factions. And if you don't like that, you won't like the show. On the other hand, it does some really good action as well. So the magical combat is surprisingly well fleshed out, where if something doesn't need to be overcomplicated, they don't. But if something does need to have like a plan going on behind it, they will organize that up and actually execute a plan. And whether that works or not, because there doesn't seem to be too much plot armor on plans, is all a matter of what seems to be kind of realistic reactions to those actions. No, I've really enjoyed how it's going, and I love the direction that's pulling the main characters into. So, Xenos, did you watch this one with me, or?
No, it's like I really wanted to, but the problem first off, I was already watching way too many shows as it was. But I find that when it comes to the Irregular at Magic High School, one, I find it easier to watch dubbed because of the whole political intrigue side of things. And also I find it easier to watch binged. So when you're going from week to week, it's just like, oh shit, what happened like 7 weeks ago? I can't bloody remember. So it's, so plus I think I discovered that I hadn't watched the movie either. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So...
to get a bit of background for things like that.
Yeah, so I haven't watched this, but now that it's all out, I am fully intending to.
What impressed me with this one is that they kind of seamlessly transition some of these characters into roles. So, for example, Miyuki here is the younger sister, and she gets elected into the the student council president position, which was previously occupied by the really strong-willed and very personable girl that she's one of the next heir apparents of one of the 10 master clans, and she's supported by Jumonji, who's this big, big, enormous man with the power of creating impenetrable shields. And they seem very imposing and very powerful characters when they're there in these positions. But then they graduate, move on, and we get now Miyuki and Tatsuya. But then at the same time, you think, hang on, to the people that are coming in now, in the next students coming in, suddenly Miyuki is this incredibly powerful mage sitting in the student council president's seat, and she seems perfect and together and controlled. And she's got Tatsuya, who's proved himself to be this incredibly powerful combat mage, and this force to be reckoned with in the engineering circles. And you think they've moved these guys seamlessly into that position, and they don't even make a big deal of it.
I think one of the better things about Irregular at Magic High School is how much the world never feels stagnant. I know that they were talking about, so they in season 3 they're talking about events that happened in season 1 where they had effectively like the inter-school Olympics effectively.
Yes.
And they have to change a bunch of the games for this year because they basically broke all the records that year. So again, like I genuinely do really like Irregular Magic High School. I never suspected we were going to get a season 2. I couldn't believe it had taken what was it, like 8 years for us to get a season 2, and now we also have a season 3. The animation is still on point. The audio work, like the sound effects and everything, sounds absolutely incredible. It is a totally good series to watch, but if you're not into the political stuff, like you'll get bored.
There is a couple of moments I will point out of specifically necessary anime camera angles, because this is one of those shows that pops up on the list of really quite effectively censored, because the uniforms they wear and things are definitely not to show off a lot of things. They're like neck to ankle kind of dresses for the girls that could be customized. But there's definitely a couple of times where they point out, we're highlighting the fact this character is well endowed by having the camera behind him in the car, and they'll lean forward to look out of the car, and there will be significant sway.
Oh my god!
Okay,
Anyway.
So they're not above that, but I think that to me just like points out, that we kind of take for granted that all the rest of it is incredibly tame.
We need to get some of this stuff in there, otherwise people won't watch it. Anyway. Right, should we move on?
We need the horny boy demographic.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to talk about...
Speaking of the horny boy demographic.
No. I'm going to talk about... as a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world, right? So this just got the announcement of a season 2, which will air later on this year. This is a complete review because I haven't done a 3-episode or a 6-episode, basically because I dropped so many shows. This is one of the ones that I picked up. This, unfortunately, falls into the region of a... So nothing special. I'm gonna say... 3-star. 3-star, nothing special. So, I would not pick this over 7th Prince with power fantasy abilities. So the whole premise of this is someone gets isekai'd and reborn in another world, and he has the special ability of being able to see the stats of the people he looks at. So he has an appraisal skill, so he can see first off their letter rank. Oh crap! Was attunement to things, and their actual level in those attributes, right? So, for example, as a little kid, he goes to the training area of his father's mansion, whatever. His father's a lord of a region, and he's watching these guys fight and things. And this one guy who has a D in spears is really sucking at training, but he has a B in bows. So the little kid just turns to him and is like, have you ever considered trying a bow? He's like, oh no, but I love spears. Spears are amazing. And it's like, oh, just give it a go. Just give it a go. And basically he ends up getting like 3 bullseyes in a row. And the kid is quickly known to have an eye for, being able to determine the value of someone. And one of the big narrative points is to go against racism and slavery and things like this. And like he's hiring these retainers. So he hires one retainer, which we've already seen him on the screen at one point. And basically he's this character from the Far East, but he's like an S rank fight. Like he's got like S ranks in one ability, which makes him like an expert fighter and things like this. But he hasn't leveled it up yet because he hasn't had the opportunity to. And they try him out and everything, and everyone's treating him like hot garbage. And the kid's like, no, he sits next to me, he eats what I eat, and then everyone starts respecting him and treating him as an equal and things. We see this with multiple different characters. We see this with a girl who turns out to be an expert magic caster. We see this with a little kid who turns out to be an expert strategist. All these different things. And that's the guy that's treated badly. It's pretty cool, but the problem is it kind of platters out really quickly around episode 5 or 6. And then it's all about him, the kid, being dragged around effectively by his retainers. And that's why it's fallen quite significantly into the nothing special. Like, he doesn't do anything. It's everyone else around him does stuff. Like, everyone else goes like, oh, we should do this to strategy. We should? Okay. It's like, oh, we should go through the back alleys, or, it's everyone else's idea. It's never his idea anymore. Yeah. So, no good.
Yeah, I could see how that turns into more a character comedy rather than anything else.
Yeah, I watched, like, I went to go visit family and I watched 10 episodes and I got stuck in, it might be 9 episodes, sunk cost fallacy. And like, oh, well, I'm already this far in, I might as well just finish off. So, yeah. Do not recommend. Moving on.
Speaking of comedies, let's do KonoSuba Season 3. Which was only 11 episodes?
Yes.
Yeah, which is a little sad, but what you gonna do? So obviously, best show of the season, must watch 5 stars. I mean, probably not best show, even though it's probably my highest rated show of the season. I don't know if it's actually the best, because how do you judge this show? Is it funny? Yes, it's hilarious. Does it keep up that level of comedy? Yes, it does. Does it manage to have some surprisingly touching moments? Yeah, actually it does. But is it as deep as something like Mushoku Tensei? Well, of course not. Jeez, what are you, crazy? But for what it wants to be, man, it aces it. It just, right straight out of the park. Vanir continues to be awesome right up to the very end. Some of the pacing definitely feels like there are shorter chapters that are being kind of smushed together to make an episode. I don't mind it, but I feel like you can tell, like, oh, this is the end of one chapter of the manga and of the light novel, whatever it was. And here's the next one starting, immediately on the back of that. Aqua is dumb. No surprise there. She gets an egg that she's convinced is a dragon, and everyone else is convinced is just a chicken egg. And I mean, it probably is, but also if it turned out to be an actual dragon, it would be really on point for this show. Like, it could go either way, and I love that. There's a Hydra fight later on. I'm kind of sad they skipped the initial fight, but the smash cut comedy to Kazuma once again needing resurrection works fine. And there's also a later fight that they do show that's pretty good. There's actually a lot of cute moments and secrets and things that Kazuma and Darkness share through the entire season, like even from the start. And that was kind of surprising how close those two have gotten over the course of the season. I don't think it's actually going to go anywhere, but it's at least cute to watch and interesting to see. I love Cosmo's reason for inventing bubble wrap.
That was just to relieve stress, wasn't it?
Yep. You pop the bubbles and they make you feel better.
Just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
And divorceness.
I love that shit.
Oh yeah, the thing I wrote was more like God's blessing on this wonderful wedding, and by that I mean fuck him up.
I love KonoSuba. The comedy behind it is on point. The narrative, like the events of the plot and things, are pretty predictable.
Sure,
but the comedy just isn't. Right? They'll do stuff which you expect to see in something like a Dungeons and Dragons session. I
mean, some of it is a little predictable. Like every time they say Kazuma, he goes, "I'm Kazuma." But
no, not just that.
Xenosan.
But that's a running gag.
Yeah, no, it's things like when at the start when the princess is talking to Kazuma and she says, "Oh, why don't you come visit?" And I thought to myself immediately, he's gonna get abducted. Right? I could see stuff like that happening. We could see what was going to happen towards the end. It wasn't going to be left like, the through the initial things, like something was going to bounce back, and we could obviously tell them things. But at the same time, the humor around it, the fact that the city folk who are so familiar with Megumin just run in fear the second she starts casting a spell, right? It's all stuff like that.
They find out they're looking for a new member, and she's the one that's like, "Yes, it's me, Megumin, the Mad Wizard. You want to join this party?" Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep. So, it's just how the characters behave. I think is the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. Next one?
Yeah, next one.
It's me.
Yeah.
It is you.
I think I'm going to go with one of the best shows of the season, Delicious in Dungeon.
Cookie.
And this one, I kept rating criminally low compared to what Xeno would rate it.
Yep. Because you were wrong.
And yeah, I was wrong. Xeno, you proved me wrong.
I did.
Yes. Okay, this is a certified Thaylien was wrong moment. Hoping Nasuth will put some kind of graphic there just for that. So, this is gone for me. I'm still going to be wrong, though.
I think Xeno's desperately looking forward in the system.
4-star.
Yeah. Nope. 100%. Must watch 4-star. I agree.
Must watch 4-star. I loved how this show progressed. I loved how...
Oh, shit.
It starts out.
And I thought you were looking for it. That's why I didn't say anything.
Yes. So, here we go. For people watching, not listening, there's the steps. So the I love how it's gone from the from this slice of life with a plot. You know, it's a slow life almost, where they're going around getting these ingredients, cooking, and then they encounter friends. They encounter people that take the group dynamic differently, that push them harder and make them go for a goal that they really shouldn't have been able to accomplish. And then when they do, it's still not right, and they have to push harder and go further. And even with the with some of the absolutely silly methods they use, like mushrooms that transform one thing into another thing, they actually do make it fit into this world and use it for good purpose. I love the world they've created, the magic they've created in this world. Everything
really
from
wrong.
Steady, Nasuth, steady.
You guys continue.
They've got everything from solving somebody's deep-rooted psychological trauma with the power of transforming mushrooms, to realizing that an adamantine shield can't actually block dragon fire because your hands will still get hot from the metal heating up. You know, it's all these little touches. There's these elements of realism, elements of fantasy, but all of it seems logical in this world that they've created. All of it seems completely believable in these situations. I keep coming back to the transforming mushrooms. The transforming mushrooms were in the last couple of episodes, but you think about a poisonous mushroom, that its key function is it transforms you into something similar but not the same. And they make it a little throwaway thing that, oh, this is probably why it happens, is it spores you transform, and animals that have been transformed into something different are rejected by their group, and they fail to survive in some way, either through not being able to get the same food or the same environment, or maybe they get hunted. They die, and the death of them spreads the mushroom spores, which becomes another ring of mushrooms, you know, with perfect built-in fertilizer. And that fits into this world. That actually, you could imagine that being in a dungeon and happening in a magical environment.
I'm pretty sure it happens in the real world, actually, to some degree.
Yes, but other mushrooms do spore live creatures that when they die spread the spores. And in fact, there's even weirder mushrooms that we're not going to go into because this is YouTube, and YouTube will probably demonetize us for saying things like that. You know,
Give Nasuth 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. So this show, the vibe it creates with the way it handles both its emotions and its silly side are so good. And the production quality has been insane the entire time. The adventure you go on with these characters is close to flawless, even if at the start of the show you're saying, come on, get on with it. Mm-hmm. It all has a meaning. It all has a reason for it doing what it's doing, and it's so impressive.
Go on. Finish your point.
I was just going to say that it was. I can't wait to see the next step, because I know this has to have another.
Oh yes, season 2. No, season 2 has been confirmed. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
exactly.
I missed out on the news too.
I can't wait for that now, because the point it left us on is both hopeful but also full of menace.
So, I'm intrigued to know, why is this not a 5-star?
For that slow burn. Okay.
At the start?
Yes.
Okay.
If it hadn't given me that anxiety at the start of, they keep saying that they have to hurry for this thing, and they're not hurrying.
See, I get entirely where you're coming from. For me, the reason why is like when I reviewed it at the mid-season, I gave it a 5-star. I also agree with the sentiment of giving it a 4-star, only because of the slow burn out. Like, the last few episodes were quite clearly, we are not getting to any form of conclusion, but we're not really highlighting that. We're kind of still meandering to, like, oh, and then there's a season 2.
Would
and
you say
I
it would have been
like
better
that.
if it had had like 20 episodes or 18 episodes, so it could have had a little tighter story?
No, I just think they needed to give some form of indication that, like, you know, how much further are we away from our goal? Because it was just kept on going.
So sort of the thing.
And
If we'd had something to achieve in those last 3 episodes properly, like, yeah, this is a milestone that we've now achieved, and we can now, you know, this is a rest point in the story while we get for season 2. But, you know, the rest is still forward, but we've achieved this specific thing.
yeah, it's
that little note.
It's just basically a case of if someone said, like, you know, we have to get to the aqueducts first, and then we can go down to
sort of the same problem that they had at the
lower
start,
sub-levels.
where you had no real sense of where they were in relation to their goal, or how long they'd been there, or
it's similar. I think the biggest problem, though, is the fact that you knew the goal beforehand was to what's called
find the sister, find the dragon, and get the sister. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, to save Thaylien, right? But so you knew what the goal there was, but then it's a case of now it's to deal with the mad wizard. I can't remember. Mad mage, isn't it?
Mad mage or something like that.
Yeah. You know, to deal with the mad mage, but you kind of are hinted that it's coming imminently, multiple times. And then it's just like, but it's just not. that's why I dock it a star, because the way that they, you know. But in all honesty, this is so goddamn good. Like, fucking Trigger are just knocking it out of the park. I can't wait for season 2.
It is so weird seeing Trigger do a slow one like this, but while they're doing it, they've just proved that they're not all about the zany animations.
Yeah. Right. Should we move on to the next one?
Please.
Right. What am I going to do next? You know what? I'm going to do one that I actually really enjoyed. This is a half-season... well, because, you know, it's a half-season review, effectively, of Spice and Wolf, because it's 24 episodes. It's continuous. 2 core. And I fucking love this series. They've really stepped up their game in terms of the narrative telling, in terms of the animation. Like, what did I give it last time? I'm pretty sure I gave it like an acquired taste.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're getting into must-watch territory now.
Oh, I didn't. You did, Nasuth. You gave it a 5-star acquired taste.
That sounds about right, yeah.
I am going to give this... I'm going to give it a 3-star must-watch. Genuinely. I really love the series. I love the setting. They've done a hell of a lot of homework for, like, a sort of...
Germanic setting.
Yeah, it's like for like a medieval European setting. They've done a hell of a lot of homework. And I love it. I love the animation for the transformations. I love how they don't pull the punches like they did in the first series. A lot of the fights and things, they really slim down. In this, it's like, oh my god, I watched the latest episode. Sorry, not the latest episode, the episode before. I was like, dear god, it's incredible. It's absolutely gorgeous. The interactions between Craft and Hollow is immaculate. The way that they talk in not in riddles, but like
idioms.
Oh no! It's a case of like when you're referring to, you're like, oh, you know, sheep are loyal but they're stupid and things like this, and you know, it's sort of like an in-joke between characters.
Folk sayings, yes.
Kind of, yeah. So like it's two people having a conversation. No, but they have like an idiom is colloquial, right? This is more a case of like I'm having a conversation with you know, someone I personally know, and you get my meaning because, you know, of my inflection and tone. Yeah, just it's a very strong familiarity in the way we're communicating, that you know that I actually mean something else entirely from what I'm actually saying.
It's like making a video game reference between us when somebody in the room doesn't play video games.
Effectively,
when the
yes.
walls fall. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. You know, even I understood that like instantly. I don't know if Thaylien got it, right? But it's the use of metaphors and things like that. So again, it's a very clever series. I love it. I think that more people should pick it up and things. I don't know what more else is there to say.
Does Hollow still act like a brat?
Yes and no. She does have a bit of a superiority complex, but she also has a juvenile sort of tendency. You know, she wants Craft to act and behave in certain ways, but like, you know, without actively telling him. She's like, oh, you know, which name did you cry out? And he coyishly waits for the bell to ring in order to, so she can't hear him again. You know, it's good
as long as he gets some of his punches in too. That's
oh
what
yeah,
really matters.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I've heard of this mythical thing on the internet that is apparently something I'm not supposed to know about, called furries, and will this awaken something in me?
100%.
Have you watched any Disney stuff?
Yes.
Right. Well, if you haven't been awoken yet, then you're fine.
That is a good point. In my youth, I was able to watch Disney's version of Robin Hood, and nothing awakened me there. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, if you've come out the other side of Disney's Robin Hood,
how beautiful!
Oh my God! If you come out of Disney's Robin Hood and you're not already a furry, you're fine. Not to say there's anything wrong with being a furry.
If you can listen to Shere Khan for the entire movie and be fine, then okay, you're good.
I'm just gonna say, like, anyone that likes Disney stuff, you're already a furry.
Yep. Whether you know it or not.
Right. Moving on.
It's just like fucking Kishiro. Just stabbing
oh my food.
Okay, anyway, let's move on.
Right. I will take Go Loser Ranger. Wait, is it my turn? It is my turn. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Go Loser Ranger.
I really want to know what you have to say about this.
Desperately want to love. Desperately, but I can't. It is a nothing special 2-star. It might even be lower than that. I might being a little too generous here. It like I want to love it, but it doesn't seem to know what it wants to be. The test that is basically like a little tournament arc in and of itself, because it turns out not only do they have to work in teams to get the key, but there's only one key of each color, meaning only one person on each team can pass. Which is, you know, great. It only lasts 3 episodes, but it feels like a lot longer, especially when they keep flashing to more interesting things, like the boss monster. You remember God? Remember God showing up in the first? Mm-hmm. Like, Hibiki explains his past. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That one shows up again in the final leg of the arc. And
can I just say something? Do you know what you rated it last time?
What did I rate it last time?
4-star acquired taste.
Yes,
to a 2-star
it is down
nothing
from a
special.
4-star acquired taste. Yeah.
Jesus
it
Christ.
plummeted. It plummeted because I had so much hope and you know it had so much promise and hope in it, and it just. So yeah, those other things it flashes to with the god monster need more development before they actually finally come to a head. But no, we got to do a tournament arc and instead. It does at least show us that there are other people who have reasons to hate the Dragon Keepers, which is nice to know that there are other people in this world that are fed up with them.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I got to episode 7, and it didn't tell me shit.
No, we do find out more. But there are also others who want to be like the Dragon Keepers, knowing that they're rotten. It kind of feels like things are going to pick up again at the end of the tournament, but then they just kind of don't. It just kind of meanders along. It's trying to tell a what if everything you believed was a lie story, because, you know, first we got the fact that the Rangers are lying about the Sunday showdowns, right? You know, great, fine, fantastic. But then we also find out that the boss monsters have basically abandoned the fighters. And so D now hates the boss monsters too. But that's what they're trying to go for is everything he knew was a lie, and so he needs to go his own way, and, you know, blah 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 blah. But it's really sloppy, and it comes off more as D just siding with whoever he's closest to at that particular moment. So like, because he defends the other trainees against an attack, and it's just like, you're just doing this because you've been working with them now and you don't see them as the enemy anymore, but you're also saying that they are your enemy and you're still going to kill them if you have to. It's like, decide what you want. And events just kind of seem strung together with no real connective tissue, which is kind of explains this entire show. That there's just nothing deeper going on. Things just happen. D's motivations make no sense. It's... Oh yeah, stealing Red's divine artifact, that big thing that culminated in, the first 3 episodes, never really comes back into play.
Are you for fucking real?
I'm for fucking real.
Wow.
It's a little bit, I think there's a little tiny bit at the end for sequel baiting for the next season. And that's it. And that's it. And it's just spoken about and not actually, they don't actually do anything with it. So... yeah, I there's a season 2. I don't think I'm gonna watch it, because I just wanna like it. I love the idea of evil rangers and a weak ass fighter who is, you know, determined to take them down. But man, it's just not. I don't have anything else to say about it. It's just not good.
Okie dokie. Well, how about I move on to something that's actually slightly improved this season, which is Chillin in another world with level 2 super cheat powers.
I think it's that one.
Yeah. So it was a nothing special 2-star, and it's gone up to a nothing special 3-star.
Wow.
Minor improvement, but improvement nonetheless.
It's still an improvement because we have our usual like plank of wood protagonist in this. He's a guy from a fantasy world to a different fantasy world. And his trick is that he happened like nothing to start with when he's summoned as one of 2 potential hero candidates, whereas the other guy had like level 999 attributes in all his stats at level 1. But when our boy goes out and does and is able to, he's rejected by them. He's given a bag of gold and a sword and said, look, we're just going to drop you off at the edge of the forest. You can do what you like from there. You're not our chosen hero. And it turns out the bag he's given actually has a spell that attracts monsters on it. So he starts getting mobbed by low-level monsters. He levels up once, and all his skills gain the infinity symbol on them.
What?
Yeah. So at level 2, his growth went from virtually nothing to infinitely strong, infinitely magical, infinitely able to learn stuff. And so he gains all of these special powers, and the overpowered protagonist starts from there. He's a bit of a plank of wood. He learns to transform, so he transforms himself to look different so he can live elsewhere without being spotted as the guy that was summoned. He picks up this attractive wolf girl that tried to kill him, and he beats her, and she says, well, they're going to kill me then. I said, no, I'm not going to kill you. So, oh, then are you going to be mine? I said, well, if you want. And it's kind of like ends up living in a nice little house with her until some more adventurers show up to find out what's going on with the forest, that he's somehow purged of all these monsters. And they join the family. They stop being proper adventurers and spend most of their time there with him. But the comedy is actually really good. The hero that's summoned has no growth. No matter how much he levels up, his skills don't progress. And so he turns into this almost like parody of a Team Rocket character, where he locks himself in a castle when the Demon Lord starts invading, and all the troops he sends out get defeated. And so, but it wasn't my fault. The troops need more training. I'm going to make sure they train personally. Give me more gold so I can go off and do that. And ends up, let's see, I think it's 3 times he ends up being captured by a real villain and transformed into some kind of monster, dragging along his servant girl into the mix. And it's a proper, it gets these proper like comedy things of they escape by finding a shovel that can magically dig holes. So they dig a hole underneath themselves to drop down into, so they can't be seen in the woods. But once they're down there, the shovel can only dig down, so they have to climb back out again. Every time they escape, it's like the opposite of Team Rocket's blasting off. They just like dig down to this hole, and then when they're escaping the guards, you'll just see them down the bottom of the hole saying, "I can't believe we're back down here again."
Oh my gosh!
And it just gets incredibly silly. So it's B-movie bad kind of thing, but I found it so entertaining to watch when it wasn't about the main character. I mean, you still get a bit with him, where he's genuinely a good person and actually is trying actively to fit in with this new world and make peace between the demon side and the human side, which is it's taking notes from Helk, Nasuth, in that the only difference between the humans and the demons is that the demons have this malaise that they produce in their bodies where the humans don't. So they can't physically live together because one is toxic to the other. The humans have this purification power, the demons have this malicium power. And so only powerful demons can control all their malicium and not hurt humans just by being around them. And that kind of inherent divide is something that our hero wants to stop, and so he does befriend the Demon Lord. He does befriend the Princess of the Kingdom. And oh god, that just reminds me of the one truly stupid moment is the princess. The princess gets crowned Queen of the Kingdom, right? That she's in, and because she's a good person, she tries to help him and kick out the bad hero. She gets crowned, but her advisor says, "What do we plan to do next, Queen Princess?" Because she doesn't actually have a name.
Okay, that is pretty funny. All right,
they didn't know what to.
You got a genuine laugh from me.
Yeah, it's so bad, but at the same time, it's so funny. It's like almost unintentionally funny.
It's ridiculous
moment. And yeah, so it's not worth watching over quite a lot of the other stuff we've got this season, but it did make me laugh, and that's why it's gone up in by 1 star in the Nothing Special.
That is fair. All right. I'm gonna. Okay, right. What I'm going to talk about next? I'm going to talk about mysterious disappearances. And
Is this what happens to me every time I interrupt you?
I wish. What did I rate it last time?
He actually server muted me when we were doing our Kanpai, Nosy Senpai watch through. Yes,
Yeah,
Saturday. It was hilarious.
So, Mysterious Disappearances. I rated it before a 2-star must watch, and I think it's gonna stay there at a 2-star must watch. It does sort of improve as time goes on and things, but the problem is it doesn't improve enough for me. So the series is very much reliant on, well, I kind of suppose, knowledge of Japanese folklore and things like this. I'm glad that they do explore a lot of it, but the problem is because I don't have any familiarity in Japanese folklore, I couldn't really follow 100% what was going on. I was just taking it on blind faith. Whereas things like Ancient Magus Bride, I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to English folklore. You know, things like the Fae and Spriggans and, you know, Oberon and Titania and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot I already know. And that kind of hurts the show a little bit. Not to say that other people wouldn't rate this higher. Animation is brilliant, though I don't know, I think a little over-sexualized in places. We've already had plenty of memes of
The shopkeeper.
Well, yeah, the writer, the aspiring author. Yeah, it is a good series. I do like it, but again, unfortunately, the ending kind of leaves you a bit wanting, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but to me, in this manner, it is a bit of a bad thing. So I do not think there is room for a second season. I don't think they were trying to sequel bait. I think they were trying to make this a one and done series, which is good in a lot of regards. But it kind of just kept up that pace and stuck it at a 2-star must watch. The other side of it is that it could have been worse. The ending could have just completely flubbed it, you know. So I mean, it genuinely has got that going for it. If you like this sort of narrative, again, I think it'd probably be better in a dub, because trying to keep up with all the terminology and things, they don't just talk about Japanese folklore, they also talk about things like Chinese folklore. So you know, it is really interesting, but it gets quite hard to follow in places. So yeah, but it's still a good series.
Out of curiosity, which would you say is better for handling mythology, this or Inspector?
Inspector.
Okay.
I would rate Inspector ahead of this, especially with the fact that Inspector has a season 2. This could get a season 2, but I don't think it's warranted. I don't think that they should, because it could go bad. But Inspector Season 2 really emphasized a lot more of Season 1. Season 1, what was it, 2/3 of it focuses on one story, whereas Season 2 is nothing but small little stories. So this is more along the lines of Season 2 without Season 1, if that makes sense. So, but yeah.
Cool.
Alright, Nasuth?
Right. So I would like to take on The Fable, which is another 2-core series. It is continuing right now. In fact, I just watched episode 13 today. Yeah, so it was a 4-star. It is now still an acquired taste, but it is a 5-star acquired taste. Because it does actually have must-watch potential, but I don't know, because the comedy is kind of weird. But it does slowly trade a lot of that absurdist comedy for the more noir parts that have been kind of present in the background. And it turns really quite dark towards the end of this first half. Which, again, having now watched episode 13 as well, I can say that it starts to ratchet that back down and bring up a little bit more of the comedy, but I don't think I don't know if it's ever going to fully return to that pure sort of absurdist nature, because now because of the things they've introduced during this whole section, I don't think we're ever going to get back to that level, which I'm fine with. It also kind of asks us, what really is a normal life anyway? Does anyone really have a normal life? It asks us if... No, you don't. No, come on, you don't. It says, is it worth letting bad things happen to other people in order to preserve your own sense of normalcy? And it encourages original thinking to solve problems. Like how Fable is trying to now rescue somebody. I don't want to give too much away, but he's trying to rescue somebody and he can't kill anyone because that's still the stipulation. He's not allowed to kill while on this 1-year sabbatical. And also kind of gets into this whole old style Yakuza versus new style Yakuza. Like, they're not allowed to really go around just randomly killing people anymore. The world doesn't work that way. It's too difficult to get around law enforcement. We also get to see a little bit more of how Fable's mind works. Like, we already know his ethics, but now we get to see him actually be like a tinkerer, and even some glimmers of humanity starting to form in that weird mind of his. We also get some more of the sister, but she's kind of less interesting right now. I hope that's one thing that changes as we go forward. That is one thing that would help push it into must-watch potential. Mostly, she just enjoys being kind of a femme fatale or drinking. Her fetish is for weird loser men, that she can use and then lose, which, great for her, that's more power to her and everything, but I don't want that to be the entirety of her character. Actions also have consequences, so like the Yakuza who gets Fable involved in all of this the reason he has to go rescue somebody without killing, there are other people from the organization that show up because this was not part of the deal. I won't go into any details about what happens because of that, but there are consequences. And when it finally does hit that high point, like that dark point, like I said, man, it goes hard. It is not afraid. There is nudity in this. It's just upper body nudity, but there is nudity in this, so be prepared. It's only happened once so far.
Boy or girl nudity?
Girl nudity. It's a very bad situation for her, is all I'll say. Yeah, so bit of a content warning. But she is dealing with bad. It's to show that there are bad people in this world, and they will do bad things. And Fable is not one of them. Even though he's a bad guy and a killer, he's not one of them. So,
just because you're a bad guy does not mean you are a bad guy.
Exactly. So that's I'm really enjoying this. I hope the second half holds up. And yeah, I do recommend it, even though it's just an acquired taste so far.
Right. So let's go on to what am I going to pick? I think I'm going to save my best for last. So I'm going to go with Bartender, Glass of God.
I'll take one glass of God, please.
Now, previously an acquired taste 5-star, still is an acquired taste 5-star. So this is a slice of life in Japan's bustling classic bar scene, where people go into an actual counter bar where you are served drinks by a bartender, and we are following the tales around, not specifically always involving, one particular bartender who is supposed to be able to make the fabled Glass of God, the one drink that can save a person's soul.
The Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, finally, at long last.
Possibly. Yeah. And it is a journey into how you can approach life from different ways, all framed around the idea of making alcoholic beverages. And you see how each person's life you interact with goes off on its own little directions. It is heavily slice of life, which is why it's staying in a quiet taste. But it actually genuinely made me tear up towards the end with some of the emotions it actually goes into. You know, you have the idea of people committing their lives to a way of life instead of treating something like a job, and how that can both uplift you and others, but also ruin you over time, because you can drive yourself into too much, into exhaustion, into a way of life that you can't support unless you treat it with more respect for yourself rather than for the job. And it goes to show how you can just be a simple barman, and you actually do affect the lives of everybody that comes through the door in little ways, and how that's a very, very important position. One of the themes that comes up a couple of times and is addressed quite soundly towards the end of the series is that when a man is on his last legs and seeking a way out, there's only two people he will actually ever really go to for his last words. One is a priest and the other is a bartender. And I mean, it's a very defeatist way of looking at the world.
Ooh.
But in many ways it seems to be true. And our main character is actually one of his reasons for denying the call of all these people that come to ask him to be, their bartender, is because he made a bad call when somebody did just that. When he was overseas, he came back to Japan because somebody tried to walk on the clouds after having a drink at his bar.
Oh my!
And he's blaming himself for it because he thinks, well, if I just thought about that person more, tried to make the drink that was right for them, and talked to them more, maybe they wouldn't have done that. And resolving that trauma that he's gone through, and a lot of the traumas of other people around him in the season, brings us to a genuinely good happy end of that season, of this series. I'm really impressed with the maturity it takes when it addresses many of the issues that are in it, and how it teaches its lessons. So little things like where a customer, another bartender is seeking some advice and trying to find his place, and instead of just talking at him, our main character actually, I almost think purposefully makes a mistake to one of his other customers, then apologizes and redoes things and actually makes it right with that customer. And that interaction is a demonstration of how the other guy should handle the situation, not just telling him. So
I thought you were about to say they're going to have a conversation by making each other drinks.
No, not those two. No, not between barmen. No. So it's
Never between
remarkably
barmen.
well handled on these particular incidents. So yeah, it's well worth the 5 stars on this, but you do have to like these slice of work life kind of animes before you go into it.
Interesting.
That's fair. Cool. Right. Moving on. The Data Life. Season 5. The end. So
Is this
I
actually the
gave
end of the
this-
series? Like totally? Wow. Okay.
It's over. It's done. And in all honesty, that in part gives it credit, but I'm not prepared to grade it on the fact that, you know, it's concluded the series. I'm going to give this an acquired taste 3 star. Right? So this is actually 1 star less.
Wow.
Right? The vast majority of this season has been effectively one fight, right? That was off the back of season 4. So season 4 kind of culminated. Is that the word? Am I making up words now? You know, it all came to this one point, and the whole of season 5 is just this one fight, right?
I think you confused accumulated and culminated with.
No, I think he meant that right. I think he meant culminated.
Yeah, it's a good merging in either way. I like it.
Whatever. And the
Did you say a culminated? Okay, I missed that.
But like the whole thing is that, like, it does come to a conclusion and it does escalate, but the problem is that going on a week by week basis, it's just like, oh, actually, am I grading this down because of the non-bingeable opportunity?
You might be. You've known for that in the past, but I don't think you really can at the moment rate it as if you binged it, because you've only got what you went through.
Yeah, I think if I were to binge watch this, I may have rated it higher. Because again, it's I love this crazy trashy harem-esque stuff. Like this is my jam. Like, you know, people like the trashy isekais. I like trashy harems, right? It's you know, it has a good compelling plot. It has, well, you know, for a harem. It has good characters. The 3D CG characters and things, like, they do get a bit too overused, but at the same time, I understand why they've done it this way, because there's a lot of combat in this season. Yeah, I am happy with how it's actually concluded as a series, but it did feel like it was dragging a bit. I will give it that.
Yeah, stretching a whole fight out to a whole season, a single fight out to a whole season, feels like you'd have to just fill it with filler.
Well, there's loads of different angles and things, and like, you know, the harem is like 8 girls plus, right?
Oh, so is it kind of a Game of Thrones problem where you're following too many characters?
A little bit. It's like they've clustered them in places, and it's like, you know, they have to prepare for the upcoming combat and things like that, and they have to change how events turn out, and it's like, again, it's really weird. It is, but like, at the same time, I am happy that it has finally come to a conclusion. And again, it's not the worst conclusion, right? For a harem series, it's probably one of the better ones. But at least it got a fucking conclusion. Yeah. So, you know, I do like it. Not the best, by far not the worst. So, if you like that sort of stuff, you know, watch the series. It's all done now. It's 5 seasons. The first season's good. Second season is kind of middling. The movie, which goes between 2 and 3, is really good. Season 3 is fantastic. Season 4 is really good. And then season 5 is just good. So, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there you go.
So Kaiju number 8 is up next. As we come in towards the end here, and I think Xeno and I talked about this a little bit, and we've got a couple of disagreements. But I'll go ahead and and give you my review, and then Xeno can disagree with me as we go. So I actually gave this at the end. I don't remember what I gave it last time, but I ended up giving this a must-watch 4-star because I really enjoyed it. I really man, Kafka is my spirit animal. But it is held back a little bit by being somewhat predictable. Like, you always know when they get into a tight situation, Kafka's gonna be there to save them in some way, you know. But just the spectacle of it, the character interactions, I loved so many of them. It sort of reminds me of a podcast I listen to called We're Alive, which is, I listened to this years ago. It's not, it stopped running a long time ago. And ostensibly, it's a zombie podcast. That's how they build it. But it's really more that the people became mutated. And so that you got dumb ones that just run around doing whatever, but then you've also got a couple of smarter ones that seem to understand what they're doing and have started experimenting on the other mutants to turn them into like Hulks or fast little ones, or it started changing them into its own tools, and that kind of reminds me of Kaiju number 9 when Kaiju number 9 shows up.
Hey, okay.
And so yeah, that's I liked that because I really enjoyed that podcast. I thought they put a lot of effort into it. It's good to see the normal guy, just the average old person being a hero for once instead of the young kid. But you've definitely also seen this story before. You've seen this superhero story before where a guy gets, transformed or something, and he would be the enemy and they should kill him, but they end up sort of using him instead, and you gotta prove your worth. You gotta stay alive by proving your worth, and your worth is killing the enemy. So that is, you've seen that story before. There's nothing new there, but I just the comedy aspects and the character moments and all of that really made it feel good to me. Now Xeno has read the manga, and
up until
so
the end of the series. I'm not ahead of the series, but
yeah. And so he has issues with the pacing, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm struggling a bit on how to rate this. Mm-hmm. A part of me wants to give this a must watch, but a large part of me is just no, this is like an acquired taste 5-star. I don't think I could recommend this to anyone and everyone just because of the sheer Shonen Jump aspects of the narrative, right? When you actually have fights that last multiple episodes is when I have huge problems with a lot of Shonen Jump stuff. It's when I turned off from Naruto. It was episode 110 when fights started spanning multiple episodes. I'm like, this is so slow, and it's the sort of thing that I really don't like in a lot of Shonen Jump stuff.
Isn't it just the last fight that spans multiple episodes in this?
No, it's the last. No, it's a lot of the fights, to be fair.
Okay, I think I'm thinking single opponent fights, and not events where they're fighting multiple kaiju.
No, I'm okay. There's two at the end, right? But still, for it to be so early on in the production of the show,
I only remember the one versus the father. The other one wasn't a single kaiju that he was fighting. It was multiple. It was
no. The kaiju number 10 spanned.
Was it
episodes.
More than one?
Yeah, it was 2 episodes.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's because I binged it, but it didn't. I swear.
Yeah, see, this is part of the problem though. It's a lot of the time when you watch a lot of Shonen Jump stuff, if you binge it, you don't
it's not as bad.
feel as bad, but you lose so much time right? You don't gain as much ground. Yes, visually it is gorgeous, right? I know a lot of people have griped about the artistic changes with the characters between the anime and the manga, but it's so subtle. I don't give a shit, right? You know, it's whatever's easiest, whatever is the most appealing. If you know, the way that they detail the backgrounds in the show just blows so much stuff away. I'm not a huge fan of, and again, this comes from manga reader privilege. I'm not a huge fan of the pointless filler stuff that they add in with character dialogue that never happened, or turning one, like, a 2-page thing in the manga into like an entire fucking episode. When I was talking to Loz about this, because he's also ready, he's ahead of me, he's ahead of the series and things, like, you know, when we realized that by episode 6 it hadn't even finished volume 2 of the manga, we were like, where is this season gonna get to? Is it even gonna get to, you know, is it gonna get to Kaiju number 10 at all? Or, you know, and then the fight between so one of the episodes, it spans like a volume, no, not a volume and a half, it spans like 3/4 of a volume. It just chews right through it. I'm like, wow, the pacing of the series is just a bit all over the place, and I'm not the biggest fan of it.
See, I didn't feel that watching it. I you know, I think that they've done a good job adapting it to. Why does it keep doing that? My hand is not going up like that. I think they did a good job adapting it to a visualized format where they add in little extra moments of character, and they focus on the things that look visually appealing and things like that.
Though I agree with you, they do add little things of character. The problem is that those little things that they've added are constantly retrodden, right? So one thing that they've added is a lot of the competitive nature between two of the other team members. It's like the wealthy
white-haired
ones.
boy and the okay.
Yeah, the no, not Ichikawa. It's not the one that joins with Kafka. It's like the one that has like a military background.
Yes,
and one
and
that
the long
has like
blue-haired
super
kid.
rich.
Yeah,
exactly right. Like they have so many interactions in the series that are just like, but you're not developing anything. You're just going like, oh yeah, competitive nature is like, I want to punch you.
I think that was so that at the end, when they kind of share a moment, you see that they've overcome their competitive nature in favor of
maybe,
uniting behind Hibiki.
Anyway, but like I 100% at least an Acquired Taste 5, but I think a lot of people will get bored of it. Yeah.
Right.
Especially when we got season 2 on the way.
Oh man, season 2.
Yes.
Whew. All right.
Okay. This one I believe is my last one.
Yep.
And so I am going to finish on a high note for me with Dragon Raja, The Burning Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And this one shot up in my estimation. This is now a must-watch 3 stars for me.
What was it before? Do you know?
Okay.
Acquired Taste 4.
Wow.
Acquired Taste 5.
Oh, Acquired Taste 5. Oh, yeah, no, because it was 4 before that. So it went from 4 to 5, and then it's gone up to must-watch 3. Yeah, no, this is a solid season. This is a solid show. Okay, they go expressing this this character who is pulled from an everyday life where he's a Harry Potter parody in a sense. He's staying with his uncle's family because his mother and father have disappeared. He is kept basically to his room, and his only joy is playing computer games and strategy games. And then he's given this amazing opportunity to leave his life behind and join a school, a special school, which turns out to be for dragon slayers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's given the S ranking. He's like super special. He's assigned it. He's not even aware of what this means. He has absolutely no clue. That's the one overriding thing, is he still has absolutely no clue what's really going on. And people are moving the strings behind the scenes. And this show has just kept going up and up and up in terms of both the clever portrayal of how its power system works and the challenges that they're facing. This first season is all about the Dragon Emperor of Bronze and Flame, one of 4 dragon emperors that serve the king of all dragons. And you've learned more about how they are born, how they revive, how they controlled the world years ago, and how our ability, the characters' abilities now, are all based off of the powers they used to have. And the task of the Dragon Slayers is mostly just suppressing them, sealing them, making sure they don't rise again. But behind the scenes, a plot's going on to basically try and end this war against the dragons in this generation. And one of the key players in this, we didn't know before, is our hapless hero. He keeps getting his life interfered with by both dreams and visions and by the people around him, and accidentally coming into these situations that he shouldn't really be in. But somehow it's mostly through luck, but it's a lot of the time it's through the right things happening in the right order.
So does the series conclude, or is it like now there's room for season 2?
Oh, there's so much room for season 2. Yes, it does conclude with an adventure out to take on this the Dragon Emperor of Bronze and Flame, and he gets included on the team. He is given his full hero moment at the end of the season. Okay. But other people and it's done in a way so that other people will think more of him, but will still have no clue how it happened.
Right.
So he's still in the dark about what's going on, about everything else, and we, the audience, are figuring out what's going on behind the scenes and making our own conclusions about how the we know this about dragons, and now we have this supposition about him. We know this about the
was this season 2?
No,
season
1.
It's season 1.
What?
17 episodes.
No, Nasuth, that article's a load of shit. Don't read it.
Yeah, it is a load of shit. It is a huge load of shit. Okay.
Yeah. This did release in China.
Sorry to interrupt. Just for everyone's clarification, Nasuth was just trying to Google, is Dragon Raja getting a season 2? He was reading an article that basically said it was getting a season 2 by the end of the year 2023, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like he fell into the trap of reading effectively an AI-generated article. Nasuth, don't do that.
Sportskedia. Can I not trust anyone?
And apologies, Thaylien, for interrupting to clarify what the fuck Nasuth was just doing.
No, that's not a problem at all. The whole thing of the show is beautiful. It's well animated. It's well paced, and the audience is always perpetually in this state of being almost as confused as the main character, but learning more than he is, because you get to see the other people moving behind the scenes and everything else. Little hints like saying the school itself is protected by one of its teachers who lays down his power, they call it the Yanling, called the Law. And the Law prevents other people's Yanlings from activating, so it keeps the school safe. Because you can't use dragon power in the school unless it's allowed. But you hear a note saying, you know, my Yanling doesn't suppress people whose blood is stronger than mine. You know? And then in the very next episode, something happens. Yes. In the very next episode, you see a different teacher with a different Yanling power use our main character to help him take on a dragon. And he says, it's all right. You're the only one that's going to be able to move normally when I do this. And it's only if you put 2 and 2 together from those 2 separate, unrelated things, you think, oh, well, does that mean that his bloodline's actually stronger? But it's never confirmed for you. The audience is learning more, but is still almost as confused as the main character. And that's, I think it's brilliantly told as a story. So I think it definitely earns the must-watch. And
interesting.
For the production quality, definitely a 3-star. There's just a couple of scenes that you'll find stand out because they're the only ones that really, really catch your eye, where they try to do a big CGI shot and they've got the animation of the character in the scene. Similar to the way Disney tried to blend CG and hand animation. And it kind of, the frame rate doesn't match up. But those are the only bad shots in the whole series when it comes down to it that I saw. The only ones. So it's consistently high production quality all the way through. They've done a really good job with this.
I've checked in with the intern, and apparently it is set to have a second season. However, the announcement was made at the end of the Chinese airing of the first season back in 22. So it was November 25th, 2022 that it was disclosed. But there's
so this aired in 2022 originally, but it's just now getting to overseas to like a Japan release and everything.
Yes,
okay.
It's originally a Chinese
That's
release.
why the Sportskeeda article said 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was originally a Chinese animation, or it is a Chinese animation, but they dubbed it for Japanese audience and everything. Now, and it was announced back in November 25th, 2022, that it was going to get a second season. However, there has been no news since then.
And you're now in 2024.
Yeah, so there's quite possibly going to be a second season, but I mean, to me, that press X'd it out.
Yeah.
Right, should we move on?
Sure.
To my last one, which I eventually got to watch the last episode of, which is Demon Slayer Hashira arc. So it's the Hashira training arc, and I'm see, to me, like, this suffers from another Shonen Jump syndrome. I feel that. Oh my god, where do I put this? I think I'm going to put this as a 3-star acquired taste. Right? There's not a great deal of plot progression and things like that. And in reality, the 1 hour long episode that was aired, for the ending, the finale of the season, was like 31 minutes long.
Oh wow, really?
Well, it was only technically 40 minutes, so I don't know why sites stated it was going to be an hour. And like 7 or 8 minutes of it is credits. And it's just like, what the fuck? The finale is gorgeous. The animation is just, it's movie quality animation, right? It's really, really good.
Probably because they're going to turn it into a movie later, like they do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, a lot of the time, people turn around and say, like, I'm still seeing people say, oh, yeah, it's going to get a movie for the next... it's going to get a trilogy movie after this and things like this. The problem was that the announcement at the end of the episode wasn't translated for me, so I have no idea what the announcement was. Much like the announcement at the end of Mushoku Tensei, but at least I could actually understand what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
The plot of this, the plot progression is not that detailed, right? The animation is gorgeous. The hijinks ensue. It's only 8 episodes long, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, because they spent as long as they needed to do it. It didn't feel like it dragged at any point. Like, if there was another 4 episodes of this, I would be like, oh my god, I want to shoot myself. It's
for our listening audience, he means shoot, not the other word it sounded like.
I thought it sounded like shoot myself.
You went a bit fast.
Okay, fine. I want to shoot myself. But I mean, it's Demon Slayer. I mean, it's action-packed. It's very well animated. It is everything that it says on the tin. It's whimsical, but I mean,
so what you're saying is it's actually mid. Got it.
No, fuck off. Don't say that, man. It's like, if this is mid, then fucking Kaiju number 8's mid.
Yeah. I'm teasing because the internet's like, oh, it's mid, but it's been like this from the start.
Yeah. It's been exactly like this. It's no different from when it first started off. It's a dumb action film. It's there you go.
Yeah.
What more's you fucking want?
It's the same reason I like Windbreaker. It's just a dumb fun action movie, essentially.
And I will say though that even though that Demon Slayer, like most Shonen Jump, has a really extensive cast, they don't loiter needlessly on other characters, right? The characters have had their time, they're gone, right? They don't like, oh, what's that character now doing today? Who gives a flying fuck?
Tanjiro is still the focus, essentially. It's just that the other characters
Zenitsu still here?
Build the world.
So why does Zenitsu still exist? He's had his time.
I will say, right, something, I don't know what, something has happened to Zenitsu, right? And he got fucking serious face going on right now.
What?
Right? Yeah, I'm not kidding. I don't know what's happened, and I've got a theory of what's happened, but like, yeah, he went super serial and like super stoic, and not the fallen asleep Zenitsu stoic. I'm talking about the I'm awake Zenitsu stoic.
I'm awake for the first time.
Yeah, genuinely, and I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. The ending, well, I mean, it's a cliffhanger to go into the next arc. Nothing too surprising there. But even though I realized that's what was going to happen, it was gorgeous. I have genuinely not seen such pretty animation for some of the stuff they pulled off. And clearly, a lot of it was CG, but like, I couldn't fucking tell. So, yeah. Fucking hats off to them. I'm glad to wait for that final episode.
Well, Speaking of beautiful animation, shall we get to my last show?
Please do.
On the last show overall this season.
In that flash between having a grey shirt on and having a red shirt on.
Yeah. Not only did I get one great show this season in KonoSuba, now I've got Mushoku Tensei, which I have to give it credit. It really pulled it back. It really came around. It was if I was rating the whole season as a whole, which I'm not doing because this is a separate core. I would probably give it like a 3-star or a 4-star must watch, which is still up from
3-star.
1.
I wouldn't give it a 4-star. If
Which is
you
still
were
up
to
from
do the
1.
whole thing.
Yes, but just this core gets a 5-star must watch. It actually caps out.
Yeah.
And that's because, you know, you only had 6 episodes of the school, and that 6 episodes had a lot of depth going on to it. You had Sylphie and Rudius getting married. You had them, you know, getting pregnant. You had then you get all the drama of him going to save his family, his parents.
Well,
and
even before
I don't want to give
his sisters, don't you?
Yes, and his sister's trauma. Yes. And I don't want to give away too much because I want people to go watch this. But the things that have, like, Man God tells him before he goes, if you don't go, you're going to be sorry. If you go, you're also going to be sorry. And the way that plays out is spectacular. We already know this is getting a season 3, but honestly, if it ended here, just because of the strength of Rudius's arc by the end, of the things he comes to term with, the place he now sees himself in the world, I would be happy if it ended here. If there was never a season 3, I'd be like, this is an amazing story, go watch it anyway. But, you know, there would still obviously be unresolved things. We don't know what's going to happen to Nanahoshi. We don't know what's going to happen with the Dragon God. You know, we don't know what the Man God's plans for him still are. But if, man, whew, feels like an actual literary epic with a full world and real characters and a rich story, like real characters.
I still want to see the return of our aggressive redhead.
I'm sure it'll happen. Shot framing and angles seem very deliberate, like they're you know, it's actual cinematography and not just picking angles that look kind of good. A lot of people online make a lot of noise about Rudy's mind being an adult when he's surrounded by children, but it's kind of clear in the reunion with his father that he has actually, in a lot of ways, had a second childhood. He's had to learn, you know, he's had to grow up again. He's had to, you know, he's got this almost child mentality when it comes to his family.
It's almost like they're highlighting really hard in this season that
he never actually grew up.
Grew older. Yeah, while he grew older in his past life and had trauma, he never grew up because of it, because of that trauma. And now he's actually growing up and becoming a full person. I love it.
There's a little bit of plot contrivance in that the book that he brought with him on his journey happened to be exactly the book they needed. But yeah, Rudy's definitely dense, but in like believable ways. And his inner monologue definitely helps get that across. Like he keeps misinterpreting situations, and it's something that people do. It's something that you know, anyone who has anxiety issues probably understands.
Yes. I love the about his pacing back and forth. It's like, Rudy, yes, what can I do for you? You're not helping by pacing back and forth. That's actually really distracting. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure they reused... I forgot to start the timer, but I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure they reused some of the animations in the Hydra fight, but I also don't care because of the importance of that fight. A lot of little touches, like when he meets up with... was that a spoiler? I don't know if I should say that or not. He meets back up with somebody, right? And there's an event that happens, a relatively tragic event. And like they open their mouth like they're trying, they want to say something to be comforting, and then they just close it again because it's one of those moments where what do you say, right? And it's little touches like that you see through this series. The ending credits when they actually play, don't play just the music and they actually have the scenes playing out again.
Honestly, the show handles grief so well.
I do wish that the journey part had been a little longer than 6 episodes, because it feels like the montage of them going across the desert both ways is just the same thing played in reverse. But at the same time, the feelings that they have on the way there versus the way back, like the way that the characters are now afflicted, is so different.
Yes.
I want to hate harem. I really want to hate the harem that ends up forming, but how can I when they handle it really quite well? And polyamorous relationships do exist, so, you know. Also, babies don't open their eyes that soon after birth.
Okay.
But, you know,
I'm so pleased you brought this up, because remember in the first season, Paul's polyamory came about basically because he's a bit of a scum. He is actually just a bit of a scumbag, and it was only Rudius getting the 2 women to agree that no, actually their relationship and their children are more important than the cheating husband.
Yeah,
is, and he's then spends the rest of his time trying to make it up to them until the great teleportation. But his relationship comes out of genuinely, you know, falling for the they've had these deep relationships since he was a kid, you know, so it's not like this comes out of nowhere. Exactly.
Yeah, that's really all I've got to say. I've tried to avoid too many spoilers. I'm sure I've given a few away, but yeah, if you guys have anything you want to add.
I think the one thing I really like is the contrast between Core 1 and Core 2. Like, I feel that Core 2 means so much more because of the existence of Core 1, and I do agree that there are some parts that were dragging a bit too much in the first Core, but at the same time, to me, it kind of, it's nice to have that change of pace in the story. Like, I will always refer back to the Aliens franchise, where you can't put the what's the idiom? You can't put the something back in the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Genie.
Sorry, no, is it the genie?
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Okay, but the whole point is, you know, once you have revealed that there's this monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the point in doing another horror movie where people don't know what the monster is, right? Mm-hmm. The audience already knows what the monster is. It doesn't carry the same weight as the first movie, and I kind of like that change of pace where it was no longer a horror movie, or it didn't cover the horror genre as well, but it was instead an action movie instead. Yeah. So again, I like that, where we had this huge epic adventure in season 1 where they had covered, was it 2 or 3 continents? Was it 2? They
covered the entire continent from where they started and then got back to their original one.
Yeah, but then in this one, it was nice to see the stagnant, you know, he is sat in one space, or technically 2 spaces, for the whole of Core 1 of Season 2. You know, it's nice to see that contrast difference.
I think if they had aired as 2 continuous cores... See, I think that's part of the problem, is that because they were split up, they needed an ending spot for the first core. And because of that, they ended up kind of stretching it out a little bit. Whereas if I think these had been 2 continuous cores, I would have been more happy with taking like 2 to 4 episodes, probably 3. Let's just split the difference and go 3. Taking 3 episodes away from the school and adding it on to the end so that we could experience more. Because it feels like the ending is a little, even though it is essentially 6 episodes, there's so much that happens in there that it feels a little bit rushed. Whereas the school feels a little bit too slow. So I would have rebalanced it the tiniest bit, but I agree. In principle, I agree with you. You do need that school stuff. You don't need all of it. I don't think you necessarily need like the Beast Girls, but you do still need a lot of that school stuff, and that slow time, that downtime is good. For getting for building Sylphie and Rudius together.
Yeah, again, I think if you were to do 2 consecutive cores, I completely agree with you. But if you don't do 2 cores, you need that gap to sort of defuse from core 1 to then embrace core 2. And as I said, I love it. A large part of me is tempted to just go away and read it now.
But then you'll find out the pacing sucks.
Oh, the dilemma. Oh well, there you go.
Yep.
Jobs are good.
So shall we move on then?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Best show of the season, I say. Cool. Right, now it is time for that part of the show, which is the supporter questions. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't put one in this week, so this is what we got.
Right, so Zrugel asks, do you know what the most viewed Kanpai Cast video is? Nope.
I do, but I can't say because it would ruin the question.
Okay. The last full season review.
The dot?
So winter 2024's full season review. Okay, right. Are we gonna continue on, or are you just gonna sit there in silence? Fine. Right, Zrugel asks, nope, it's the one and only short. You should do more shorts. No. Do you have any idea how much effort goes into those shorts? I think I put 10 hours into putting that short together.
It was easier to make shorts of our podcast, sure, but I don't think there are any really good shortable moments in most of them.
Yeah. That top 10 was such a pain in the ass to put together. Actually, I think it was more than 10 hours. Right. Then, I mean, if someone wants to finance putting shorts together, but I actually investigated how much that would cost.
If you join the Kanpai Cast, the Zeno's Patreon, maybe we can do more.
No, all right. I'm not kidding. Right. Getting an estimate to put together a short, right, was more expensive than putting an episode of Notice to Be Senpai together.
Ooh,
jeez. I am not kidding. I could not get a cheap short.
Shorts editor.
No, a cheap estimate for the level of work that's involved in putting one of those together.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
One person wanted $150 an episode.
Wow.
Short. A 1 minute short, $150. Fuck that noise. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't afford it.
Big industry though.
Nasuth, check your audio settings, asks, eat my shorts? Yes.
Later.
Sure. Why not?
Yes. Right, so moving on to the comments. Sorry, I kind of got a little hostile then for a second. I mean it at none of you. Right. Right, so first off, the comments from the news. Strong Michelle says, news! Somebody in the Discord was saying Suicide Squad Isekai was good, or maybe that the intro was good. I forget. People should comment more on these videos so you have more things to read off. That is true.
I second that opinion.
I think the Kiki and Gigi in the McDonald's ad looked really good. Yeah,
I agree. I thought they were really cute and energetic.
I was interested in the Luffy bento, although after finding out it wasn't a real bento but a board game, I had to laugh at myself. Also, get something to eat because I was hungry. Yeah, I completely concur with this. The fact and rumor section seems to be getting longer. I'm not complaining. It's a cool segment. Well, I mean,
this week.
Tuesday's one.
Yeah, this week was super tiny because there's nothing. So many of the things that I kept on finding on like feeds and things were like, the last episode of Kaiju number 8 is out in 2 days. The last episode of Demon Slayer is out in 3 days. The last episode of it is just fuck off. Anyway. Right. As Rugal says, news. I had not heard about Mr. Sutherland's passing. Got to front load the bad news so it doesn't bring down the mood.
Exactly. This guy gets it.
One question I have is, like, you know, as audience, do you guys like the bad news at the front, or do you want us to intermix it more? I mean, I think we put it all at the front because, like, let's just get it over with kind of thing.
I used to mix it in, and then people, I think it might have even been Zrugal, said that the tone shifts were a little funky to go from something really funny to something dark, fair.
But yeah, let us know. A video game thief Parker, I'm interested to know more. Yeah, as was I. In response to the Paper Famicom, for $20 they should just make a real model. It would sell. I mean, sure, do something for the anniversary, but just make something good.
Yeah, that cardboard for $20 seemed really cheap.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I imagine a real model would be more than $20. It would be like $100 at the least. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I fucking get a Gundam kit for like $15.
They could have for the same price done the cardboard and a little plug-in USB stick with a adapter for your TV. So you just connect your HDMI to the back of the box on a little tiny Raspberry Pi USB.
It's got like 100 games in it or something.
And and it had all the games on it.
Anyway, so moving on to the comments from the cast. So as Rugal says, but if they didn't scream in DBZ, how would you know they're going to attack? Joking.
Good point.
Yep,
Good
100%,
point.
100%.
It's like an Elden Ring. You only know the snake's going to attack because it pogs first.
Yeah.
Is it what first?
Pogs. Does the pog face.
Okay. I'd say in that situation, Nasuth proposed using science to go to a magical world. It would be a fantasy if there's magic in the world they go to.
I think that's what you two concluded as well.
Yes.
Or no, sci-fantasy was the ultimate conclusion.
What the fuck was last week's episode about?
The tropes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
When we decided that Stargate was what Nasuth was talking about when he went...
Okay.
Sci-fi gate thing. And if it went somewhere where there was magic, we said it would actually turn the show into a bit of a fantasy because then magic would be real.
Yeah.
That supporter question was asked by me, but I'll answer anyway. I haven't been watching anything lately. Haven't had time.
Relatable.
Yeah. Strong Michelle says, my favorite trope is Xeno's co-host interrupting
What was
him.
Like this again.
Oh, you tried and you failed. Both of you fucking failed.
On my end, it interrupted you.
Not for me.
Oh,
Fortunately
flag.
for me, that happens a lot in this
Like this.
episode. Too late, I already said episode. I'm joking, but that is pretty funny when it happens in anime. I think it happens in KonoSuba a few times. Just the whole okay, fine. Maybe that's not really a trope,
in KonoSuba.
Maybe that's not a real trope, though. Maybe my actual favorite trope would be nice bad guys. A few characters from Love Afterworld Domination comes to mind. That's fair. Or the armored guy from Miss Kurutsu. Yes. Oh yeah, from the Monster Development Department. Yeah, no, he was such a nice bad guy. My least favorite trope is dumb smart characters. Yeah. I'm not saying I hate smart characters. I specifically hate smart characters written by dumb people who think they're profound.
Like
Yagami. Google, did you mean Death Note?
Yeah, looking at you, Death Note. Pretty funny how you guys brought out the old, it's fine if it's done right Can't go wrong with the classics.
No, you cannot.
I said that way too many times. The memes were
the
hilarious.
podcast, really, at this point. You know?
Yeah, it's fine if it's done right. The memes were hilarious. The one about Xeno had me laughing pretty good. What was the one about me?
It's your face when compared to Thingamy's face when they're about to like make Nasuth cycle through something.
I only think.
Anyway, and then the last
comparing
one.
your frowny face to our interruptions of you and things.
Anyway, moving on to the last one. Good talk, guys. I'm excited for the next episode, or I guess the one you just recorded when you read this.
Wizard, how did you know we just recorded an episode? My God, he can see into the future.
Now,
Man, this man's a witch.
See the future.
Now, the main
Go
reason.
have a child.
Now, the main reason why we're all here, which is the
I forgot
memes.
Oh,
I forgot to mark my my NSFW one. Oh well.
Well, as long as you know which one it is.
Nope, don't remember at all.
So just announce it for every single one of yours.
There you go. So yes, all the memes come from the. All of our memes generally come from Reddit. We also have viewer memes. We got 4 this week. You can go to our Discord, which is linked in the description, and submit your own memes. And somebody is kind enough to collect all of them, so we don't get to see them at all before reacting to them live on recording. So, shall we?
I'm just gonna say I do not have any not safe for work memes this week.
Yeah, I think I forgot to clear that out after last week.
Sure.
So,
First meme.
First meme. Some rare mice can have golden fur. Some even rarer mice can have wavy golden fur. This is a shiny Pokemon.
Wow. Fucking wow.
Nice.
Is that a legitimate thing?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I would not surprise me.
Wow, I wonder what the fuck they eat. Anyway. Oh, got spray
Same thing
painted.
other mice eat. Okay.
Steven Universe
cool.
crossover with Dragon Ball.
I
the original
see.
Dragon
That's not bad.
Ball. Yeah, because Steven would definitely be able to ride the Nimbus. And,
I suppose. I never watched it.
And his dad hanging out with Master Roshi has very weird implications. I don't think
Cool.
those two would get along.
Oh my God. Perfect.
That's fucking brilliant.
And everything changed when the Airbenders attacked.
Rock
Rocket from
from
Pokemon finally got a girlfriend after 20 years of being single. My satisfaction is immeasurable and my day is saved.
Wow.
Wow.
Good man.
Wow.
Right. So this meme could potentially be NSFW. Be prepared. Ubisoft, Watch Dogs 4. No, more Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Charlotte was such a good series.
Good old Charlotte meme. The Elden Ring, The Road to the Erdtree manga adaptation by Nakichi Tobita will go on hiatus in order for the author to play the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. It is acceptable.
You also didn't NSFW warn this one.
Yeah, I didn't.
Use it
I
NSF
didn't.
Do NSFW all your warnings.
This acceptable.
Okay.
This next one is a video meme, and it could be NSFW. I honestly don't remember if it was a video meme or not. Behold the might that my right hand commands.
Impressive. That is power.
It's so random.
This next one could also be NSFW. Who knows? Not me. Guys literally only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting. It's Hitler out of a plane.
And being shot.
Wait. Why do they have Noin killing one of the generals from...
It's Hitler.
I
It's
can't
Hitler.
recall.
Is that Hitler?
I think it's supposed to be Hitler.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it may have been a general, but it looks like
They
Hitler
drop
to
him out
me.
of the
He's
plane
got...
and shoot him on the way down.
Yeah,
It's
just
like,
gun and wing.
Yeah.
not just content with the fall.
It's
Yeah.
gun and wing.
Shoot.
Anyway. Okay.
Here's another video meme. I don't know if
Be
there's
not safe
boobies in
for
it.
work.
When Shonen Jump CEO after JJK at One Piece and My Hero Academia end. Must find a new job. Which means by process of elimination. Hang on, I'm gonna go back to this because it means no audio playing. Which means by process of elimination that the last meme must be the not safe for work one. So definitely prepare yourself this time. I've clearly saved the best for last. Arrested Arizona penis man claims there are more penis men.
What the fuck?
And he'll be here in a year.
Oh my god.
Yep, that one was the NSFW.
And now I have it. Blech.
Vegeta! Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to Thaylien. Oh.
Fly Me to the Moon. The anime is called Fly Me to the Moon. Look inside, no Frank Sinatra.
Oh.
What would you do if there was a child right in front of you?
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's Tsunemiki's ski mask.
Yeah.
Committing crimes in style. I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure that this is exactly the kind of thing that Fable would wear at some point.
Definitely.
In recent decades, Japan has been under relentless attack. But they're not sending missiles over Japan. They're sending angels. They're not angels. Some are really not so good. But these great people who call themselves Nerve decided to fight it back. And they needed robots. So in comes a guy nobody ever heard of this guy. Shinji. Speak. Sorry. What a loser! He's waiting for who knows what. Then all of a sudden, a lot of shooting, a lot of blasting. Then I'm looking at this young, beautiful young woman. She said, "You get in, brings them to Nerve headquarters."
It's gonna be the whole thing.
Now she says, "Yes, do I have to?" And so everyone said, no, because you know, they're losers, they're babies. So they said, "She get in." The robots. He does a great job.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he does a great job.
So random.
Oh.
Yep.
Dude, I couldn't focus on what you were saying with that thing on your face. I was sick of staring at it.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Okay.
And the freeze frame.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's brilliant. I
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, new emote unlocked. What? What?
She comes in, tries to fish next to him, and he decides to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't get it.
As it doesn't get it, he's not cultured.
All
My
right.
day is ruined.
Cool.
What the?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What a good crossover. Oh no. No.
It's surprisingly well animated.
Yeah.
How very dare the person that animated that.
Next.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure I had the Kanpai Cast account post this.
Yeah.
Cause yep.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Farewell until we meet again. KonoSuba season 3. And before Nasuth,
episodes.
right? I'm just gonna. Well, I mean, season 1 was only 10 episodes.
Yeah, true.
So, right, before we do my last move, I'm gonna warn everyone. It is long, but it is so goddamn good.
Is it as long as Thalien's Trump one?
It's longer.
Oh.
Oh.
Alright, buckle in,
I think it's
everyone.
like 4.5 minutes long. It's
That's
but
a
it's
lot of
Jesus.
things.
Okay,
But watch it.
alright.
A
Go for
lot
it.
of things are longer than Trump.
not as orange.
Have you ever wondered what Thanos was cooking moments before those Avenger thugs broke into his house and brutally murdered him? You probably don't care, but this is the setup for our D&D session. Anyway, legend has it that the Mad Titan would still be stirring the pot to this day if everyone just admitted that his depopulation plan was correct.
I'm starting to believe that one saying about how elves are only as insane as their ears are long.
This is coming from someone who thinks kissing gets women pregnant.
I'd rather kiss Thanos than support his universal Russian roulette genocide plan.
I'll support anything that gets demons killed.
Who the hell is Thanos? It says after adding the crystallized tears of a Roman cuckold, drop the car keys of a 1998 Honda Civic into the center of the pot.
What's next? A half-smoked cigarette found on the floor of a 1976 Cutlass Supreme? It smells like hot ass in here.
I thought only pirates used a cutlass.
I'm just glad Fearon decided not to kill me as long as I agreed to help everyone here.
Because I want to see if your boiled alive demon body could be used to substitute the oxtail ingredient.
Ingredients go in the pot. Anything else does not.
What the hell is a Honda Civic?
With the help of some very dangerous witches and several ingredients you'd find in a meth lab, we eventually found out that Thanos was trying to recreate the chicken nuggets from McDonald's they had before the formula changed. At some point, Megumin slipped her blood into a pot, caused an explosion. The little academia witch almost died, and somehow I got blamed for everything.
What the hell is McDonald's?
This girl is a damn dummy.
You won't happen to know any healing spells, would you?
No, I'm a dark witch. I don't know anything about healing.
When I first met you, you said you was one of the good witches.
Yeah, good at dark spells.
Mage, warlock, witch, alchemist, sorcerer, lawyer. It doesn't matter. Unless you can beat me. You all need to relearn the basics of magecraft all over again. You almost let Fearon trick you into creating a Lazarus pit to revive
This is like
Thanos.
A and B hell.
Then why did you instruct Roxy to attack Ainz to prevent him from moderating?
After adding Rubel's armpit sweat, mix in a teaspoon of Fortnite Baja Blast. No, that's the entire
The pot is not intended as a child's plaything.
I have nothing to say to a demon.
Okay, settle down, Huey, Fearon, and Voldemort. Let's work some real magic and find out how to get Crosai's Patreon more subs.
Oh my god.
I love it. I fucking love it.
This
believe
meme
I watched the
embodies
whole
I
thing.
saw this, and now the rest of you have to suffer with me.
Yes!
That's what this.
You all have to watch it.
Oh,
It
dear.
Posted on the Kanpai Cast Discord a week ago on Saturday,
What are you talking about?
and then the week before that by somebody else.
Yep.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. It's true. It's true.
As
Anyway.
recording, I posted it literally yesterday. It's why I can't remember the Saturday nights from both last week and the week before.
Sure, whatever. It's because you were trying to resurrect the chicken nuggets recipe before McDonald's changed the formula.
What of it?
Oh, jeez.
Right. That is it for this week's episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching and or listening. And now it's time to bottoms up and Kanpai! I got a tiny little drink left.